So I kind of feel like I'm the last guy in the entire reloading community to buy the InLine Fabrication quick change press mounting system. Everybody seems to have it, and I've never heard anything but good stuff. So lately I've been switching presses a lot, preparing for some future videos, and I just bought another press, the Frankfurt Arsenal M press, and I've got the Lee APP that I want to play with. It was finally time. I was getting sick and tired of bolting new stuff to the bench, and to be honest with you, over there where I keep my press, my bench top's getting kind of torn up from all the freaking holes I'm drilling. It was time to do something about it and finally pick up this system from InLine Fabrication. Now, I reload sitting down like a civilized human being. You weirdos that stand up to reload, they've got stuff for that as well that brings it up off the bench. They've got different bases, like one's 9 3/4 inches up off the bench, one's 7.5, one's 4 inches, and then there's the flush mount option. Now, what you're supposed to do is use a router and route out a recess in your bench top so this sits flush. And if I look at the instructions, yeah, it says 7/16 inch deep for a nice flush worktop. And then it says to route out an additional 1/16 inch deep where the tongue of the top plate drops into and slides back into the base plate. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. And I've actually got, so this is the Lee Breech Lock Challenger that has its top plate installed on it. They're right there. So that tongue there goes into there, and then yeah, it kind of sits down. Whatever. Once I get this mounted, you'll see what the heck I'm talking about. But you mount plates to all of your different devices and lay there. Sit down. Stop it. Stay. So yeah, each of your presses gets a top plate. This goes on the bench, and then you can just swap them back and forth very quickly with just a couple little wing nuts. Now, a couple problems with this. First of all, I am embarrassed to say I do not own a router. So whenever I was first getting ready to do this, I was thinking, wow, this is going to be a great opportunity to finally purchase a router. Every man should own a router, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to finally join that group. However, the more I was looking at it, like if you imagine this completely flush on the work surface, I was worried about crap falling down in here and constantly, trying to dig out shell holders or Allen wrenches. And yeah, if you watch my channel, right behind my press, I generally have like a pile of garbage and tools and shell holders and all of my various junk right behind my press, and it would be right kind of up against that, and I just kind of worried about that. So they've got another option. You can buy this little spacer plate. It's not exactly thick, right? It's not much, but what this allows is this allows you to mount it on top of the surface, and that provides enough clearance for the tongue to go in there without needing to route your bench. So that's going to give a little bit of room for me, my tools and my crap to not just, want to fall into this dude, is what I'm thinking. I don't know. This was only 12 bucks, I think. Yeah, the little spacer was $12.50. I guess I could talk about the price. If you go with the flush mount, so the prices as of right now, at the end of 2020, $39.50 for the basic flush mount base plate. And if you get one of the the taller ones I was talking about earlier, those are a little bit more expensive, like 70. Yeah, so those are either 70 or $80 depending on how high they are. And then each top plate you need, which this one right here is the one for the Lee APP press that I'm going to put on that guy. These are $20 each. So $20 per piece of equipment that you need a plate for, and $40 to $80 for your base. I ended up buying a bunch of the top plates. So one for the Hornady Lock and Load, one for my Redding T7, one for the Lyman turret press, one for the Breech Lock Challenger press, one for the Frankfurt Arsenal M press, one for the Lee APP, and also bought one for my RCBS Trim Pro. I like to use that guy sometimes, and right now whenever I do, I usually just kind of hold it down with my hand while I'm using it. It's a nightmare. So it'll be nice to have a way to secure my Trim Pro. And I also bought one for a vise, and I've actually already got that one on there. There you go. This is a little 4-inch vise. They had some specific Harbor Freight part number vices, plates for specific Harbor Freight vices. So I bought the top plate and I went and bought a vise. So I'm into this kit for a little over $200, which seems like a pretty decent deal. It seems to be well made, and it seemed like reasonable prices. So I've only run into one thing that was particularly annoying so far. They include hardware to through bolt it. I believe these are, quarter 20s, countersunk Phillips head and some like nylock nuts. So they give you 4 of those. The problem is, when I constructed this bench, I made it specifically for my Redding T7 turret press. So over here where I mount my press, I've got like a bunch of beams running right under where the press goes, and a couple of them were lined up just right so that I could use big lag screws and have the T7 securely mounted directly into those. This bench top is 3/4 inch hardwood plywood. So I wanted it directly mounted into 2x4s. And then I've also got, you know, a 2x4 running across the face of the bench right under the top. Well, the back screws on this guy, no big deal. I'm going to be able to through bolt them. And if I feel like that 3/4 inch plywood is not quite giving me a strong enough mount, then I'll figure something out. Like I'll figure something out. But the front holes, I'm going to need to use wood screws because the 2x4 across the face of my bench is right below these. And they don't include any of those. But in the instructions, they do mention if you have a beam in the way, you may need to use 3.5 inch long, number 14, countersunk, flathead, lag/wood screws. So I didn't get 3.5 inches. 3 inches were all my hardware store had, but this is what I needed to get. Like, it would have cost them 20 cents to include 4 lag screws, and it would have saved me a trip to the hardware store. So I was a little bit kind of hacked off about that a little bit, but not a big deal. I'm not going to get too upset about it. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get this guy mounted so we can give it a try. Now, whenever I was first fitting it to see if I was going to need some wood screws and all that, so I did go ahead and drill the back holes with a 9/32 drill bit. I marked my front holes and then just made pilot holes with a little 1/8 inch bit. So the holes are kind of ready to go here. The spacer plate is flush right against the edge of the bench, but the top plate hangs over. I think they say exactly how much it hangs over. Yeah, it's 1.5 inches. The plate must cantilever over your bench 1.5 inches. This gives you access to remove the thumb nuts. So remember these guys? Yep, these little dudes. Whenever you put something down in here, this is where you're going to tighten it up. So that's why it needs to hang off the bench a little bit. So they did include a little washer, you know, along with our nylock, just to kind of spread the force out a little bit more on this plywood. I grabbed some bigger washers as well, so I'm going to go ahead and just stack one of those in there as well. So there's the first one, and there's the second. Let me reach under and try and get these guys started. I was actually going to use a bigger fender washer underneath, but I didn't quite have enough clearance on either one. You know, there's a 2x4 beam relatively close to each of those holes, so these, you know, this size washer was about all I could fit under there. All right, so I think I got those guys started. I do have a ratchet here with a deep 7/16. That's what you need for that end. And I've got a drill with a number 3 Phillips bit that fits into these pretty nice. So let me see if I can go ahead and tighten this guy up a bit. So these bolts are certainly a bit too long for just mounting through some plywood like this. Actually, I'll go ahead and push it up. Yeah, you see, that's a little bit longer than I'd like, but I was too lazy to go buy shorter ones. All right, that's pretty close. And my front pilot holes are still lined up, so looks like I got it pretty close. Go back to the first one and go ahead and finish it off. Don't want to go overboard there. I'll grab a regular drill here in a minute to kind of finish them. Don't want to go crazy with the impact, especially with our wood screws, because I've been known to strip out a hole or two in my day. I'm kind of a little bit worried. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to tell down here, whichever part of this is in focus. There we go. Stop being lazy. Yeah, so I've got a little bit of an overhang here before we get to the 2x4. So I'm kind of going to try and angle this maybe back just a touch, you know, like not much. I just want to make sure I'm not angling it out this way, or I'm going to end up coming out the front here with this screw. which I guess that decision was really made whenever I was drilling the pilot holes, right? Because the screws are just going to follow the pilot holes. Okay, good. Pretty darn close. All right, now I've switched over to a regular drill. See if I can finish these off without stripping them. All right, I think that's good. Do the same thing with the back screws. Yeah, it kind of boogered up that one just a touch. Try and take it a little bit slower here. There we go. So that is our base, I guess. Like, it feels solid. The thing is, like, this bench, I was planning to mount it to the wall and just never did. So the bench itself got a bit of movement, but like this plate feels extremely solid. So with the top plates, all right, let me remove the little protector thingy here and here. So the tongue slides right down into there, and then those bolts go right through. And then our little wing nuts, which is why we needed the clearance, which, you know, there's not much excess with this particular style of wing nut, which I kind of hate these, the plastic ones with the pressed in middle part. I have a tendency to strip these. I think these are, you know, just standard quarter 20s. So I may end up looking around and going with a different set of wing nuts or something. All right, so there's one mystery set screw here that isn't mentioned in the instructions. Let's see if I can get you a view of it. Yeah, there it is. See this little guy right here? Go ahead and pull it out and show you. There you go. A little like Allen wrench set screw sort of deal. It's not mentioned in the instructions, but I think it's clearly meant to get rid of this slop. There you go. You see the top plate moving inside of the hole there. So I assume you're supposed to tighten this down to get rid of that. Okay, I think I found the right Allen wrench. Screw that down, I guess, until we feel it touch the tongue. So I wonder, does this need tightened and loosened every time we swap in our different devices? And if it does, like, why not make a knurled thumb screw or something there? I don't know. Let's see if that got rid of the... Yeah, that definitely got rid of all of the movement we were seeing there. Like, any movement you're seeing right now is my entire bench moving. Because this is also a good opportunity to give you a look at that Phillips head that I completely screwed up. But that one still looks nice. Whatever. All right, so... and hey, I guess I've actually got a couple spares. I could go ahead and pull that out and replace it. Maybe later. So that's what she looks like right there. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and pop this one off, and we'll see if I need to loosen up that set screw on the tongue. No? And you'll notice the top plate has actually got a little spot where that set screw comes down into. That's pretty cool. I don't, not sure why that wasn't explained better in the instructions. And I guess since we've got, you know, plenty of room to tilt the tongue down away from that, I could probably stand to tighten it up just a little bit more, maybe? Perhaps? All right, let's grab something else here. This is the Frankfurt Arsenal Impress. Oh, okay, so I assume it's tongue angle. If that's the right way to say it, its tongue must be just a little bit higher, because I've got a gap here now, which is probably fine. Like, the wing nuts are going to easily take care of that. I guess what I'll have to do is just, you know, play with it over time, figure out the best place, you know, the best height for that, and then Loctite it in place, maybe. Any of you guys who have this system, just let me know what you do with that set screw. Are you constantly moving it around or whatever? All right, so there's our Frankfurt Arsenal Impress. These are the the first strokes I've taken. This is a brand new press, just got it a couple weeks back. These are the first strokes I've taken with it mounted to a bench. I really wish my bench was mounted to the wall, because it's going to be really hard for me to get on camera, or you're going to see movement on camera and maybe think it's the base, this plate system. Yeah, this stuff is not moving whatsoever. Not even just a little bit. Good deal. I tell you what, they've got a system where you can set up something along a wall or whatever to store your unused devices with their top plates, because apparently you've got to be careful, because these studs coming out of each plate, this Lee isn't too bad. It can kind of sit like this or whatever, and the studs are up. Yeah, I should probably get that focused right. Yeah, so the Lee isn't too bad, because it can like sit and the studs are reasonably protected. But something like the M-Press, whenever I pull it out and want to set it down somewhere, I basically have to lay it on its side so I don't expose those studs to getting boogered up or bent or broken or anything like that. So I think I'm probably going to end up needing to get the wall mount system at some point, so I can neatly store everything out of the way and protect those studs. Okay, we'll pull out the M-Press, and here's my little vise. Oop, forgot to remove the little rubber protective caps. There we go. That should be pretty handy to have. Wonder if I could torque a AR barrel nut with this little guy. I don't know. Might be a little undersized for that kind of work, but I'm sure it'll come in handy. So nobody's better than me at taking a 10-minute topic and making an hour-long video. So let's just keep going here. I've got the Lee APP press, and this is the top plate for it. So let's go ahead. I'll show you the process to put that together. I guess maybe Nothing Fancy. Yeah, Nothing Fancy's, he's on my level, and it's fine. People like long videos, and even the people who don't like long videos love to complain about long videos. So everybody wins, man. Everybody wins. So here we go. You got all the hardware we need. These little countersunk jobs, and I assume that's probably the same. Nope, it's not the same Allen wrench we used a few minutes ago. So all right, here we go. Got the right wrench for that dude. And we got some nice nylocks for the other side, so I need a socket. All right, we'll switch to a 1/4-inch drive for this one. Maybe I won't strip anything out. So of the ones I've put together so far, which was the breech lock, the M-Press, and the vise, they've all lined up just perfectly. And it looks like this one's going to be pretty dang close as well. Put one of our screws in there. Actually, should probably put them all in there. And then maybe hold it in my hand where I can get all of these through. There we are. I can get the washers and the nuts started. Okay. Ooh, this is going to be kind of a pain. I guess that's probably the best way to get to them here, maybe. Trying to get my hand back under there. Oh, come on. Good grief. Okay, let's try this again. All right, there we are. So all 3 nuts are screwed on there a little bit. Guess I'll just start with one and get it pretty close to tight. And then, yeah, I don't know. This is a little bit awkward. All right, with these, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my socket onto them. I may be running for a wrench here in just a second. And let me try a shallow socket. I'm going to need a wrench. That thing sticks up high enough to where a shallow socket probably isn't going to be. Yeah, it is. We're fine. Nope, need a wrench. Be right back. All right, got a wrench. Is it going to fit all the way around? Oh, yeah. All right. Guess what's nice is the countersunk screws kind of self-align it as you tighten it. So I guess it's just really the getting all the nuts started and all that's the slightly fiddly part, at least for me. All right, all 3 are nice and tight. And that's the Lee APP ready to go. Let's have a look at it in the mount. Okay. I always forget to take off those rubber protectors. All right, so this one's just about the same as the last. Got a little bit of a gap here that'll be taken up whenever I tighten the wing nuts. Good deal. Seems to be on there pretty secure. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a problem both with this Lee APP and also the Frankfurt Arsenal M press. My traditional from the side camera view isn't getting it done. I'm going to be rethinking some camera positions when I get to playing with these presses. All right. Yeah, that feels nice and sturdy. Just like before, you know, my whole bench is jiggling and moving a little bit, but as far as flex, there's certainly none of it coming from the mount. All right, I'll tell you what, let's do one more thing before I let you go. Let's resize some 300 Winchester Magnum real quick, just for the heck of it. We're not going to do that with the Lee APP press though. We're going to switch back over to the Breechlock Challenger, and I need a shell holder. I moved all of my junk off the bench, getting ready for this video, mounting this guy. So I don't know where anything is. I think that's the right shell holder. Just going to grab some brass out of a box of factory ammo. So this is once fired stuff. Yep, that seems like the right one. And here's our Hornady sizing die. And I've got two lock rings here. Don't need this one. That's better. Okay, that's tightened down enough for a little test. Going to use some Imperial sizing die wax on the brass, and we'll see how this mount holds up. All right, not bad on the downstroke. The tongue didn't move a bunch or anything goofy like that. Then on the upstroke, feels good. Try the next one. Nothing to complain about there, except that my primers are falling out because I don't have the little thingy to redirect them down here, but whatever. There's about 500 spent primers randomly lying around the floor here, so a few more won't hurt anything. Ooh, that one's in there. That was a good little test. I know this is going to come across all jacked up on camera because the whole bench is moving so much. You guys are going to think I'm lying to you. But trust me, I know from actually the last video, which was a 6mm arc video, I remember a commenter actually made the comment like, dude, don't you ever get sick of your press being so loose and moving so much? It's like, it was actually this press poorly mounted directly to the bench. And especially on the upstroke, you could, I think it was the upstroke, you could watch the press just moving all over the place. So I definitely have a lot of experience with presses moving and feeling gross. Man, wow. Definitely should have thrown a little lube inside of the neck on these. But that's fine. That was a good little test. It feels good. I really don't have anything negative to say about this system. And like I mentioned, I've had at least 4,000 people recommend that I get it. And I think it's going to be, you know, it's going to be really handy. I wish they included some wood lag screws. But beyond that, not much to complain about. All right, folks, that's where we'll leave it. Appreciate you joining me. I've got several equipment videos to do. I always put these off. I'm not very good at doing equipment videos. I always tend to overdo it, kind of like I did in this one a little bit. Like I need to show you the Frankfurt Arsenal M press. We need to get started with the Lee APP press. I picked up one of the Frankfurt Arsenal universal bullet seating dies. I want to have a look at that guy. Recently picked up the Lee Deluxe Perfect Powder Measure that I want to show, test out and show you guys. So I'm kind of backed up on some of that. So I'm hoping to crank out some of those in the coming days. And then we'll get back to shooting here in a week or two. So that's it, folks. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.